I would like to acknowledge that this video is being filmed on the traditional lands of the Wurrundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander or First Nations people who may be watching this video today. Hi everyone, it's Steph here and welcome to the This or That Romance tag. I know this was going around about a month ago and I never got around to doing it. I wasn't tagged by anyone, I'm just going to do it because it seemed like fun. And I will preface this by saying that while I do have an answer for all of these questions, they are all prefaced with the fact that it doesn't mean that I don't read the other option, and that there are certain conditions under which I will read the other option. So I will talk a little bit about those as I go through. First one is Cliffhangers or HEA. I prefer an HEA. I like a book to be finished when it's done. Even if it's a series, I like a book to be finished so that if you don't get a chance to pick it up for a while, you're not going to be left wondering. That's just my personal preference. Hardcover or paperback. I love the look of hardbacks, but I prefer reading paperbacks. It's just easier to hold and to handle. Angsty or Cutesy. This is one of those where I have conditions. If I'm having a really, really bad week, I prefer a cutesy story just to give my brain some time to cope. But typically speaking, I'll probably lean more towards an angsty story because one, if it's a romance, it has an HEA and we get back to that comfort level at the end of the book. So I get sort of the best of both worlds. But I do like a story that dives a little bit deeper, and sometimes you don't always get that with cutesy stories, which is not a blanket saying, it's just an observation from some of the ones that I've read. And I definitely do have cutesy stories that I love, but yeah, I tend to lean more to angsty. Standalones or series. Look, I love a good standalone, just as I love a really good series. And my favorite is when you blend both of them together and you have a series that has standalone books in it so you can read any of them. So this one is kind of harder to choose. It just depends on my mood. If I just want to read something and get it done, absolutely a standalone book. But that said, the last couple of weeks, I've just been marathoning series. So BookTok or Bookstagram, and to be perfectly honest, if I could say neither, I totally would. My preference is BookTube, but if I have to pick one of the two of them, I would definitely go Bookstagram, despite the fact that Instagram hates photos and makes life really, really difficult to find anything. While I do watch TikTok and I do make TikTok videos, I find the platform itself just very unwieldy and it's not my favorite thing. People or objects on the cover. I actually like people on the cover. There was a really interesting discussion on the Boobies and Newbies podcast YouTube channel around discreet versus non-discreet covers. And I haven't quite finished listening to the episode yet, but there was the discussion around the fact that when you have people on the covers, it's usually an indication that it's probably going to be, not always, probably going to be open door or something like that, so that you can gauge what you're getting from the book, which I don't think you get from discreet covers, and sometimes you don't get from illustrated covers. So I like that just as a way of indicating what's going on in the story. New release or backlist. I tend to read a lot of new release books, but that's typically because they're either by authors that I love or part of a series that I really love, and so I tend to read those more. I don't always pick up new release books that aren't by a favorite author or part of a series. So in that case, I would probably go backlist because I like doing a bit of a deep dive into people's backlists. And to be honest, I'm finding now as I'm reading more and more romance that I'm enjoying going back into people's back catalogue a lot more. TBR or free for all, to be honest, I do better with free for all. I've been trying to set TBRs this year and I've been failing miserably at most of them, including this month. So yeah, free for all works better for me because I feel less pressure then. Open door or fade to black, definitely open door. I don't mind fade to black, I will read it and I don't get as frustrated as I see a lot of other people getting by that, but I would prefer it to be open door just because there's nothing wrong with that. Just like there's nothing wrong with fade to black. Audiobook versus ebook. I am probably going to be one of the minority in saying, I think I'm one of the minority in saying ebook. I struggle a little bit with audiobooks. That's just not how I process reading. I am trying to get more into reading audiobooks and to reading them without the physical book, which is typically how I have to do the reading. I am trying to get better at audiobooks because they are fantastic. They are amazing. And a lot of them really add something to the story. I'm working my way up to them. Kindle or nah, I love my Kindle. I love my Kindle. Matte or glossy covers. Look, I also don't mind glossy covers. I prefer matte ones just because they photograph better and they feel nice. Like it's a texture thing. They feel really nice and so I like them. But I'm also not opposed to a glossy cover. But if you gave me a preference, it would probably be matte. Buddy reading or flying solo. I tend to fly solo a lot more. I have specific people that I do buddy reads with and I really enjoy that. But I probably could not buddy read everything with someone. I typically read too quickly for most people anyway, and also because I'm not someone who picks up multiple books at a time. I literally read from start to finish in one book, unless something really strange is going on. Like slowing down and having to read things in between while waiting for other people to catch up is really tough on me. I just like to, you know, get a book done. So that's just a personality trait, apparently. I told you there would be a lot of it depends in here. Small town or dark romance. I read a lot of dark romance, but I think if push came to shove, I'd probably say small town romance just because they have nice cozy feelings, generally speaking. Is that the right answer? There is no right answer. Depends what I feel like. No, I'm going to go small town romance only because I think you can read that at any point in time. Whereas I think dark romance, you have to be in a particular mood for a dark romance. Yeah, we'll just go with that. New adult or adult? Adult, definitely. I don't like new adult as a readership category. I don't fit into that category. I definitely do not fit into that category anymore. While I will read some books in that age bracket range, yeah, typically I don't really care about the characters as much. Sprint read or marathon a series. The way that I am interpreting this is that sprint reading a series is reading as much of the series as you can in a short period of time, like sprinting through it, and marathoning is, you know, spreading it out over time, in which case I am a sprint reader. If I find a series that I really like, there is a very good chance that I will read it from start to finish and not take a break in between. This has been proven in the last 2 weeks. Go and check out my Books Beside My Bed videos if you want more information about that. I can marathon series, and there are definitely series that I've spread out over time, but it is not my preference for how to do that. If I have access to all of the books, I usually want to read them all at the one time. Alpha or sweetheart hero? I think it depends on the book. I know a lot of people don't like alpha heroes. I don't mind them at particular times. Like it's a mood. Like honestly, alpha heroes are a mood. But I think I'd have to pick sweet heroes just because it's really nice when you find them, and that usually the books make you feel really good at the end. I've technically already answered this question, reading multiple books at one time or just reading one book. I'm a one book at a time person, unless absolutely forced to be reading more than one book at a time. Baddie or damsel in distress heroine. I love a baddie heroine, but I'm also taking that to mean like a total badass heroine who is just strong, capable, and confident, and the total opposite of a damsel in distress. Again, I can tolerate a damsel in distress depending on what the book is and the purpose behind the story, but you know, give me a strong heroine any day of the week. And slow burn or Instalove. Again, occasionally I can be in the mood for Instalove because I just want something that I can read really quickly, but slow burn is always a good choice. All right, so that is the this or that romance edition tag. I will leave all the questions down below. I'm not going to tag anyone specifically because I can't remember who has and hasn't done this, but if you would like to do it, feel free to say that I tagged you. But it is fun to sometimes go through this and to clarify, and as I said, I have a lot of yeah, but if the conditions are right, I switch. Mostly because I like to think that I read fairly widely in the genre. Like there's very few things that I won't pick up in the genre, and it has to be something pretty specific for me to not want to read it. So there's that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.